Welcome to my channel. Try to hear the latest story.
My girlfriend squeezed my fingers lightly as we sat around the oak table in my sister's dining room, the candles flickering softly against the walls. The roast chicken smelled incredible, golden skin crisp, surrounded by rosemary potatoes and glazed carrots. Everyone was laughing at my nephew's latest story about his school play, the kind of warm, easy evening I'd been looking forward to for weeks. My sister, Karen, had insisted on hosting this family dinner to celebrate my recent promotion at the architecture firm. She'd gone all out: cloth napkins, the good wine glasses, even a playlist of mellow jazz in the background. Emily, my girlfriend of 3 years, had helped set the table earlier, chatting with Karen about wedding flowers even though we weren't engaged yet. I'd been quietly hoping tonight might nudge things forward. Conversation drifted naturally to future plans. My brother-in-law asked about the big waterfront project I was leading, and I talked about the designs, the challenges, the excitement. Then Karen turned to Emily with that bright, hopeful smile only older sisters can pull off. "So," she said, topping off Emily's glass, "you two have been together a while now. Any thoughts about making things more permanent?" I felt my pulse quicken. This was it, the perfect opening. I'd even rehearsed a casual way to bring up looking at rings together. Emily's hand was still in mine under the table, warm and familiar. I gave it a gentle squeeze, ready to jump in. But she spoke first. She leaned forward, elbows on the table, and let out a small, thoughtful laugh. "That's sweet of you to ask, Karen." Her thumb brushed over my knuckles in what felt like reassurance. "I adore Alex. Really. He's thoughtful, reliable, talented. Everything you'd want on paper." My stomach tightened at the phrase "on paper." She continued, voice light, almost playful. "But honestly, I'm not ready to lock anything down yet. I'm only 31. There's still so much I want to experience. People I want to meet. Places I want to see without feeling tied to one path. I think it's healthy to keep my options open a little longer. You get that, right?" The room went perfectly still. My nephew stopped mid-bite. Karen's smile froze. My brother-in-law's eyebrows shot up before he quickly looked down at his plate. I felt every pair of eyes flick toward me, then away, the air suddenly thick enough to choke on. "Keep my options open," she'd said it out loud, at my family's table. While holding my hand, a cold, precise clarity settled over me. I looked at our joined hands, her delicate fingers resting over mine like a careless bookmark. I slid my hand free, slow and deliberate. The scrape of my chair as I stood was the only sound in the room. "We should head out," I said quietly, looking at no one in particular. Emily blinked up at me, confusion flickering across her face. "Alex." I didn't wait. I walked around the table, pulled her chair back slightly, and waited. She hesitated, then stood, smoothing her dress. Karen's mouth opened, then closed. My brother-in-law gave me a small, almost invisible nod, the same one men give each other when words would only make it worse. "Thank you for dinner," I told my sister. My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. "It was wonderful." I guided Emily toward the door. She grabbed her purse from the entry table without a word. The walk to the car felt endless, the night air sharp against my skin. As soon as the doors shut, she turned to me. "Okay, what was that? You just dragged me out of there like I committed a crime." I started the engine. "You didn't commit a crime. Then why are we leaving?" "I was just being honest." "Isn't honesty important to you?" I pulled away from the curb. Streetlights slid across the windshield in slow streaks. "You were honest," I said, "in front of my entire family." She huffed. "Oh, come on. They're adults. They've heard worse." "I didn't say you were terrible. I said I care about you, but I'm not ready to settle." "That's fair." Fair. I drove in silence while she filled it. For 20 minutes she explained how commitment felt suffocating sometimes, how she needed to grow individually, how modern relationships aren't linear, how I was taking it too personally. Every justification layered on the last like bricks in a wall I hadn't realized she'd been building all along. That I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I just listened, letting each word settle into place until the picture was complete. When we reached her apartment, I parked in the loading zone and left the engine running. She unbuckled, waiting for me to say something, anything she could respond to. I got out, walked around, and opened her door. She stepped onto the curb, searching my face. "Alex, talk to me." I met her eyes. They were wide, a little glassy from the wine, still beautiful in the way that used to stop me in my tracks. "You wanted your options open," I said quietly. "They're open now." I closed the door, walked back to my side, and drove away. The silence in my condo that night was different than any I'd known. Not empty, full. Full of space that suddenly belonged entirely to me. I didn't drink. I didn't call anyone. I stood on the balcony overlooking the city lights and breathed until my chest stopped feeling like it might cave in. My phone buzzed. "Karen." I answered. "You okay?" she asked, voice soft. "I'm okay." A long pause. What she said. "That was cruel." "I know. Do you want to come back? We saved you dessert." I smiled despite everything. "I'm good. Really. I just need tonight." We hung up. Then I opened Emily's contact. Her photo from last summer, laughing on the beach with wind in her hair, and blocked the number. I went through every app, every follow, every shared album. Took 8 minutes. When I was done, the digital residue of 3 years was gone. That I slept deeply, dreamless. The days that followed were strangely orderly. I went to work. I led meetings. I revised elevations for the waterfront project until the lines felt clean again. After work, I started running, real running, not the occasional jog I used to do to stay in shape. 4 miles became 6. 6 became 8. The rhythm of footfalls on pavement became a kind of meditation. That I signed up for evening classes in urban planning policy. Something I'd always meant to do but kept putting off because weekends were for us. Now weekends were for me. I cooked proper meals again. Steak with chimichurri, risotto that took patience, fresh salads with ingredients I'd never bothered buying before. I ate at the counter, listening to podcasts about history and design, and the food tasted better than anything we'd ever ordered in. Friends checked in. I told them simply that we'd ended things. No details. No bitterness. A couple tried to pry. Most just offered company. I accepted one invitation at a time, drinks with Colin from work, a hike with my old college roommate Derek. Conversations stayed light. No one pushed and I didn't volunteer. Months passed. My body changed, leaner, stronger, the kind of definition that comes from consistency rather than vanity. My promotion came with a corner office and a view of the river. I bought new plants for the balcony and learned their names. The condo stopped feeling like a place that was waiting for someone else to complete it. The first hint of consequence came indirectly. Derek mentioned over coffee that he'd run into Emily at a bar downtown. She'd been with some finance guy, flashy watch, loud stories, the type who name-drops vacation homes. They'd looked intense, Derek said, but not particularly happy. I nodded. Good for her. He studied me. You really okay? Better than okay. He grinned. You look it. More fragments drifted in over time. A mutual friend let slip that the finance guy had ghosted her after a lavish weekend in Miami. Another mentioned she'd quit her marketing job to travel for a few months. Something she'd always said she wanted, but now it sounded impulsive, unplanned. Social media posts shifted from couple photos, carefully cropped to hide the other person, to solo shots in exotic locations with captions about finding herself. I didn't seek the information. It just arrived, the way weather reports do. One Sunday morning, almost exactly a year later, an unknown number texted. Alex, it's Emily. I know this is out of nowhere. I've been thinking about you a lot. I made a huge mistake. Can we talk? I read it twice. Felt nothing. No anger, no nostalgia, no curiosity. I finished my coffee, went for a 10-mile run along the river path, and came home to shower. The message was still there when I checked again hours later, followed by another. Please, I just want to explain that I created a new contact. Do not respond. Blocked. A week later, a voicemail appeared from the same number. I played it while making dinner. Her voice was smaller than I remembered, threaded with something that might have been regret. I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I don't blame you. I was selfish and scared, and I hurt you in a way I can't undo. You were the best thing in my life, and I threw it away because I thought there was something shinier out there. There wasn't. I'm so sorry, Alex. If you ever feel like talking, I'll be here. I saved it, archived it, and went back to chopping vegetables. The next move came through Lisa, one of her oldest friends who'd stayed neutral during the breakup. She called on a Thursday evening. Hey, she started cautiously. This is awkward, but Emily asked me to reach out. I waited. She's struggling. The traveling didn't fix anything. She's back in the city, barely working, kind of lost. She knows what she did was awful, but she really regrets it. Maybe just coffee? Hear her out. I watched rain streak down the window. Lisa, I appreciate you doing this, but I'm not available for that conversation. She's different now. Humbler. I'm glad she's growing. Truly. But that growth isn't my responsibility. Lisa sighed. You sound so detached. I'm at peace, I corrected gently. There's a difference. She didn't argue further. Texts followed from new numbers over the next weeks. Apologies, memories, pleas, accusations when apologies failed. I read them like case studies in someone else's life. Blocked each one. The final confrontation arrived on a quiet Friday night. My intercom buzzed repeatedly. I checked the camera. Emily standing in the lobby, hair damp from rain, eyes red. I could have ignored it. Instead, I went down. She looked up when the elevator doors opened, relief flooding her face. Thank you for coming down. I stayed by the doors, hands in my pockets. Say what you need to say. She took a shaky breath. I know I have no right to be here. I can't stop thinking about how good we were, how safe I felt with you. I ruined it because I was chasing some idea of freedom that turned out to be emptiness. I'm not asking you to take me back today. I just want a chance to show you I've changed. I studied her. The woman I'd once planned a future with, now standing in my lobby asking for reinstatement. You wanted freedom, I said quietly. You got it. I hope you find what you're looking for. Her chin trembled. You really feel nothing? I feel calm, I said. And that's enough. She searched my face for cracks, found none, and finally nodded. Okay, I'm sorry, Alex, for everything. She turned and left. I watched the door close behind her, then rode the elevator back up. Dinner was still warm. Spring arrived with cherry blossoms along the river path. I'd been seeing Rachel, a ceramicist I met at an art walk, for 5 months. She had quiet humor, steady hands, and a way of listening that made space for both of us. We cooked together on weekends, took long walks, talked about everything and nothing. It felt effortless in the best way. One Saturday, we were browsing the weekend market downtown. Stalls of fresh bread, flowers, handmade jewelry, when I felt someone watching. I turned. Emily stood near a honey vendor holding a paper cup of tea. She looked healthier than the last time. Hair pulled back, simple coat. But her eyes locked on me, then shifted to Rachel's hand in mine. Something raw and unguarded passed over her face before she smoothed it away. She approached slowly. Rachel noticed, gave my hand a light squeeze, and stepped toward a display of lavender soap to give us space without leaving. "Hi," Emily said softly. "Hello. You look happy." "I am." She glanced at Rachel's retreating back, then back to me. "She seems nice." "She is." A long pause. "I just wanted to say, I'm glad you're okay. Really. And I'm sorry again. For all of it." "Thank you." She nodded, eyes glistening, then offered a small, sad smile. "Take care, Alex." "You too." She walked away. I watched her disappear into the crowd, felt nothing but the mild warmth of the sun on my face. Rachel returned with a bar of soap wrapped in brown paper. "Everything okay?" "Everything's perfect," I said, and meant it. We continued down the aisle, debating which sourdough to buy, hands comfortably linked, the market alive around us with color and scent and ordinary, beautiful life.